our relationship. So, some quick learning objectives. So we're gonna go over like what money mindsets are and just understanding what our mindsets are. So just figuring out like what mindsets you have. And then ways to change your relationship with money. And then we'll talk about how to create some smart goals for the new year. So first, let's talk about just a quick definition of what money mindset is. So a money mindset is your unique and individual set of core beliefs about money and how money works in the world. It is your attitude about money. So everyone's money mindset is going to be different because we all come from different cultural backgrounds. We all come from different households. And so sometimes our mindsets around money is based on what we saw growing up, how our parents uh, what our parents' relationship was with money is. Also, it can be based on what we've learned over the years. So, of course, if you're taking a class like the class today, your mindset might shift a little bit. So, if you've taken financial classes over the years, then that's kind of helps with shaping your money mindset. Um, and then you guys can throw in the chat, or if you want to come off speaker, to just state like, how do you think about money? Like, what is some mindsets that you have around money, or something that you picked up on even growing up, or from just experiences growing up? Do anybody want to share? If you don't want to share, like verbally share, feel free to share in the chat.
I don't see anything in the chat just yet.
Well, I would say one of mine. So one of my mindsets, this is something I learned from my mom, is never borrow what you can't afford to pay back, and never loan what you are not willing to lose. So when I think about that, I think about managing credit and making sure that you're only borrowing what you can afford to pay monthly. So it kind of shaped my mindset around how I dealt with credit and utilized credit, because my mom had a special way of how she used credit. She always had some little tricks to where she saved on interest, and then again, she only utilized credit as needed. Um, and she always has some clever way to get some type of points or something free. So, like I said, she has a unique way of how she utilized credit to benefit her versus her benefiting the credit card companies. And then the other thing is, like I said, never loan more than you're willing to lose. So sometimes we get into the habit of loaning money out, and we need that money ourselves. And sometimes we overextend ourselves, especially when it comes to like family members or close friends. You might feel obligated to help. When my mom was saying that, she was saying that, sometimes with certain people, if you're loaning them money, you have to either think of it as a loan or a gift based on the person. If you're thinking of it as a loan, then that means that person is going to pay you back. If you're thinking of it as a gift, that means you're okay with the fact that that person might not pay you back. So those are some mindsets that I've like developed when it comes to like borrowing money and loaning money out. So we're gonna move on, but if you guys think of any, like just any unique mindsets that you guys have, just feel free to drop it in our chat. So moving on a little bit more about money mindset. So your money mindset is your unique set of beliefs and your attitude about money. It drives the decisions you make about saving, spending, and handling money. Your money mindset, it shapes the way you feel about debt, your attitude towards people who make more money or less money than you, and how easily you can give, your ability to invest with confidence, and more. So again, our money mindset just shapes all of our decisions that we're making when it comes to our personal finances. And sometimes these mindsets can benefit us. Sometimes our mindsets might lead us to make bad decisions or good decisions. But the thing about the presentation today is learning how, if you have mindsets that lead to things that are lead to bad decisions with money, then we can figure out how can we reshape those mindsets to benefit us. So, why is it important to understand your money mindset? Because what you believe will drive your behavior and your relationship with money, which will lead to positive results. So, again, if our money mindset is leading to behaviors that might have a negative result, then we want to understand like what that mindset is. It's almost like we get into the deeper meaning of our behaviors so we can shift those mindsets towards something that would lead to positive results. So again, like my mom, she told me that quote, never lend what you're not willing to lose or give up. She told me that because I would constantly loaning money to people, or like I'll like my friends and I will go on a little group trip, and then I'm like, oh, I'll put it on my card so I can get the points and y'all pay me back. And so that's why my mom told me that. She's like, well, don't ever borrow money or don't ever do that if you're not willing to lose that money, if you're not okay with losing that money. Because I was complaining that I had a negative thing that was happening because I was loaning money and paying for things for people with the mindset that they was going to pay me back. So, of course, that kind of shifted me into making better decisions around giving money out to individuals. So the next thing is, how do we determine what our money mindset is? So how do we determine what our relationship with money is? And so here are just 5 questions that you can ask yourself when you're trying to evaluate what your belief system is about money. And it can also help you determine ways to change your relationship with money. So I would say if you can take a screenshot of this, and then at your leisure, maybe sit down if you want to learn a little bit better how what your belief system is, then you can sit down and write out the answers to these questions. So number one is, what do you believe about earning money? Do you think time creates money, or does time create value? Number two is, what do you believe about saving and having money? Number three is, what do you believe about debt? How do you feel about paying your debts back? And then number four is, what do you believe about spending money? How do you feel when you spend money? And then lastly, what do you learn? What did you learn about money growing up? How did it shape your beliefs around money and your relationship with money? And then if anyone wants to, like if you want to answer one of these questions or respond to one of these questions, again, feel free to drop it in our chat box, because we do like when our audience engage with us. So if anyone has like an answer to one of these that they want to share, feel free like coming unmuting your mic and letting us know like what some of your beliefs are when you look at these questions.
I'll go. I think for question number three, I feel extremely anxious if I owe any money on anything. Like I rather just pay it off, and I realize sometimes like I still have time to pay things off or whatnot, but it causes me anxiety
Society.
to even think about owing anything. Um, like I just spent money. I'm gonna go see some family, so I bought a plane ticket with my card to get the points, but I immediately paid it. Like I don't buy anything, kind of like what you said. I don't buy anything or put anything on my credit card that I don't have the money to pay in cash, just because it causes me so much anxiety and stress to think that I owe money.
And
So I
we'll
think that's
talk,
one of my relationships with money is
Yeah.
somewhat anxious.
and we'll get into that in May when we do our how your finances impact your mental.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Yes,
Because
and why it
somewhere in
is
your
that you do
life,
certain things. Mm-hmm.
yeah, because somewhere in your life you develop that. And so there's
Mm-hmm.
always a deeper meaning to how you
How you
develop
do.
that belief system. And it's the same thing like I know a lot of people who have anxiety around student loans. And so they tend to avoid them versus trying to figure out how to manage them. So, in my opinion, just my experience with student loans, usually federal student loans have a lot of options for you when it comes to times that you can't afford your monthly payment. So, a lot of times they have, I've seen clients either have a zero payment or a $5 payment. But a lot of people they go into default or they might get into a position where they get wages garnished because of this fear of talking to the student loan servicers. So
Mm-hmm.
sometimes, I try to learn like, okay, well, where, like, let's talk about like where this fear comes from. So one thing is it's the government. So a lot of time it's the government. So they don't think that the government is going to offer some type of help or relief. And then also it's the fear that, okay, the payment I have already is considered low, but I still can't afford it. So I'm afraid that they're going to force me into paying it or they're going to change my payment to a higher amount. But again, sometimes if you just call, they might end up working out some type of opportunity, especially if you're going through a financial hardship. And then that can also apply to other credit card debts. Um, a lot of again, like when you get into a position where you can't pay, sometimes it's like the anxiety around debt causes you to avoid the debt, which leads to like late payments and defaults. And sometimes just calling, there could be opportunities for financial hardship relief. But you have to get past that anxiety of talking to your creditors at times. And sometimes they might offer no help, but sometimes they might offer help.
Yeah, you won't know until you ask. And I think people get real prideful sometimes too when it comes to debt, when they feel a certain amount of shame, when they get overwhelmed with debt, they don't want to reach out for help. They don't ask, you
Yeah.
know, thinking that somebody's going to look at them a certain way or talk about them or make them feel a particular kind of way for you know, getting in situations that causes them to accumulate debt, and they don't really even know where to begin or even how to start, or like Cecile was saying that she gets anxiety. Sometimes people get so overwhelmed thinking about their finances when it's a simple solution, sometimes as easy as either reaching out to a coach or calling a creditor to ask for a reduced
Yes.
payment or set up a different kind of payment arrangement or something like that. They create that angst and anxiety and that kind of shame or that stigma behind accumulating debt that they don't want to reach out for help or don't know where to start even. And then sometimes too, when you were talking about mindsets, a lot of times we do things because it's just the way our parents did them, or
Yeah.
or you pay bills just like you don't really have a discussion or a conversation on how do you pay your bills every month, how do you save, what's the proper way to actually budget, or how do what is a budget, what does that look like? So you just do things out of habit because that's how you saw your mama do, or that's how you saw your parents do it, or whatever, and
Mhm.
they don't think about things a different way to do things. So that's also what part of our of this financial series is about, is basically looking at things a different way, trying to figure out other tips and ways to do things and look at things a little bit differently that could better your particular situation, as opposed to kind of falling into that routine. So sometimes, for some folks, they still need a check registry and have to write things down. For some folks, they can put it all in their head. For some folks, they got to have it on their phone. So not everything that you do is the exact same thing that somebody else should do and how they should do it. You just got to kind of find your own rhythm and your own little system for doing things, as opposed to just, that's how my mama did it, so that's just the way I did it. I didn't think, anything about it, and they just kind of go on about their business. So, yeah.
Yeah, because you have some people like just thinking about saving and spending. Like you have some people, they have to spend every dime. Like they don't want to see it. If it exists, they're gonna spend it. But then you have some people like they want to hold on to their money, so they're big savers. And sometimes even like just holding on to your money can lead to some negative results because maybe you miss out on enjoying certain things because you're afraid to spend money, because you're afraid to lose it. Even though you might have a lot of money saved up, but again, you might miss out on certain things in life or certain experiences because you're holding on to money. Or the way you're saving, you might be a saver, but you might not be saving the proper way for your money to grow. Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people who save in their home, like they store the cash in
They
between
don't
the
trust the banks. They
their
don't
own
trust the
savings.
banks.
They don't trust the banks. But they also they're saver, like hold on to money because they have a fear of being without. So again, when you're looking at like when you're evaluating your belief system, you also want to understand like where your mindset is coming from. And again, like it could be how you grew up, maybe you grew up poor and so that's why you hold on to money because you want to make sure that you always have it there available to take care of your needs and you don't want to be without. Or maybe you grew up poor and you like now you got money, so you didn't have money to spend when you grew up, so now you have a lot of money, so you're going to spend it. So you can see how two different people could grow up in the same situation, but the way the choices they make are totally different, and the way they see things are totally different. Um, but this is just a good exercise to kind of look at because if you feel like there's some things that you can change about your relationship to make it better, then you need to start with understanding like where those mindsets and beliefs are coming from. So, our money mindset, we're going to move on to things that can influence our behaviors with money. So, we talk about, I guess we would say nurture, because we talked about how you grew up and the things that you saw and experienced growing up and how that can affect your mindset and relationship with money. Another thing is, the concept of keeping up with the Joneses. I like to call it see and be seen. That's kind of like the new term these days. See and be seen. And this is where you're seeing what other people are doing. It's almost like you're competing to see who can have like the best things or the best life or who can spend the most money. So usually with keeping up with the Joneses, um, like I'll say back in the day, a long time ago, you kind of like before social media, you were everything was kind of based on your neighbors, friends, and family, people who's in your immediate social circle or your immediate budget bubble. And so you're seeing, so you might see the Joneses, they got a brand new car, but then your car is 10 years old. So you're like, oh, okay, well, look, the Joneses, they got a brand new car. Let me go and get me a brand new car. Or you see the Joneses, they put a pool in their backyard. So you're like, oh, well, the Joneses, they got a pool now. Let me go get a pool or whatever. So it's kind of like you're doing things to try to keep up with what someone else is doing. And so nowadays, since we got social media, we have Instagram, we have TikTok, and then other even like YouTube, and all the other like platforms, we're seeing like we seeing the Joneses that are not in our immediate circle. So we're seeing Joneses across the world, across the country, and we're seeing what they have. And even though we don't know them, we're still trying to figure out a way to kind of keep up with what they're doing. Um, so, and this is, I'm gonna talk about influencing, but this is sometimes how we get influenced to spend money, which can lead to some negative results with our finances because maybe you're borrowing money to keep up with the Joneses, um, or maybe you're overworking, working more than you need to work because you want to keep up with a certain lifestyle that you see online, um, and you need extra income to afford that lifestyle. But see, the issue with keeping up with the Joneses is because we don't know the Joneses, we don't know their finances, we don't know how they're paying for the things that they have. All we see is the outcome. We always see is the luxury car, or they purchase a bigger house, or the luxury clothes and the fancy trips and things like that. But we're not seeing how they got to those things, or how they got those things. We're not seeing what their finances look like, because as far as we know, the Joneses can be cash broke and in debt, and they're doing something to be able to present a certain lifestyle that they can't afford. Um, so that's why it's important to try not to fall into this mindset of wanting to keep up with what other people are doing, and just kind of figuring out like the lifestyle you want for yourself, and making sure that it fits into of course your current income, because we don't want to feel like we have to keep borrowing to get certain things in life. Or it can be like if you want to earn or you need that additional cash flow, what are some positive ways you can increase income in order to get the lifestyle that you want, and that lifestyle not being based on wanting to keep up with other individuals? The next thing is just talking about anxiety around money. So we did kind of touch briefly on that, um, because our mental health does influence our money mindset. Um, and so when we're thinking about like just the anxiety around money, like Cecile, she was saying how the anxiety of owing someone money. So she wants to immediately pay people back or pay creditors back when she borrows money. Um, Also, we talked about just the anxiety of reaching out to creditors or reaching out to the student loan departments, those things like that. And so sometimes that can lead to sometimes your anxiety around money can lead to some poor money decisions because we're either avoiding certain things or maybe we're doing things that in order to kind of to maybe to kind of help with the anxiety. Maybe we're going out and spending money, spending more money because we have a fear of looking broke. I don't know if y'all ever heard of that, but there are some people who have this anxiety of looking broke. So they might spend more money because they don't want people to perceive them as broke. And again, that kind of goes back with the keeping up with the Joneses. And I even heard this like just influencers coming out and talking about how they have, you know, they fall into like depressions and anxieties because they have to keep up a certain lifestyle or a certain persona that they created for their followers. And sometimes they get to a point where they can't keep up with it because being an influencer is self-employment. So income can come and go. Sometimes they might make a whole lot of money, and then sometimes they might have a dry period where they're not making a lot of money, but they still got to keep up with a certain lifestyle and appearances that they created. So that kind of leads to some mental health issues when it comes to money. Um, so this is another thing to kind of think about, like what are your emotions when it comes to your money mindsets? How does your mental health affect your relationship with money? Are there some things that you feel that you need to work on when it comes to your emotions and money? Because sometimes depending on how bad it might get, then we should consider like maybe to talk with someone about that. So it can be working with a therapist to kind of understand our mental health when it comes to our behaviors with money. It can also be working with a financial coach because maybe you have a little bit of anxiety, but it's not enough to where you feel that you need therapy. So maybe working with a financial coach and a financial coach to kind of help you understand some things a lot better so that can kind of take that anxiety away. So the next thing is selling happiness and social media influencers. So and how this kind of shapes our mindsets when it comes to money. Also, it shapes how we spend money and also how we save. Because again, like where a lot of people are on social media, you're either on Facebook, you're on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. And if you notice, more and more, they're making it easier for us to spend money to the point that where like even in like Facebook stories, Instagram stories, TikTok, you can literally just click a link to immediately purchase something that an influencer is promoting in their video. They're making it so much easier for us to fall into the trap of being influenced to spend more and more money, and this can fall into spending money on things that we don't actually need. Um, and sometimes that means that we might fall into overspending. Again, we might fall into utilizing credit products in order to purchase these things that we're seeing on social media. So it's just being mindful of how we're being influenced. How we spend our money is being influenced by influencers on social media because their main job, they're getting paid to get us to spend more money. And then also, they're also getting paid to kind of sell this idea of happiness. So usually when we see people doing things that kind of creates a happiness or idea of happiness, then that might influence us to spend more money as well. So just being mindful, like when we're on social media, maybe setting rules with yourself, like okay, I see this person is talking about something I kind of like it. So maybe they're promoting some type of, I'm gonna say, kitchen tool. And maybe it's a kitchen tool that you've been needing, or like let's for example, let's say a knife set. So maybe you're needing a new knife set because your knives broke and you moved and you lost your knives. So using social media influencer can be helpful because sometimes they review things and they're able to let you know how good a product is before you purchase. So then you're technically purchasing something you need. But then other times we're scrolling through social media and we're following influencers and we're seeing things like clothes and shoes, makeup, beauty products, and things. And these are things that we don't necessarily need, but we like them because that influencer is making that item look so appealing that we want to purchase it. And also, we got to keep in mind they're getting paid to influence you to purchase things. So you have to be mindful that this person that's talking about this item, is this something that they actually use on a regular basis? Because sometimes they're just getting paid to promote a item, but it doesn't mean that there's something that they use on a regular basis. They just they're just making a video so they can get paid by that brand, and then they're moving on, and it's not a product that they're actually using. So then you go and buy it with the expectation that that this product is going to be something that's going to work for you because that influencer said that it was a good product. So that's another thing to keep in mind when we're purchasing things through social media. Is it something that's going to be the right thing for me? Also, when it comes to information around money, we also have to be mindful of the information that's being shared online about money and just making sure that those things are the right information that we're getting when we're on social media. Is there any like questions or anything anyone wants to add? So, what are some ways we can change our money mindset? So, our mindsets around money is not set in stone. We can strive to find ways to change our mindsets and build a better relationship with our finances. So you don't have to always feel that the way you think about money is the only way and there's no other way possible, because there's always an option to find ways to change our mindsets, which can lead to changing some of our habits when it comes to our finances. So, number one is, again, starting with getting an understanding of your money mindsets. So we have those questions that was on a previous slide to kind of help you get an understanding. And then number two, pay attention to your current behaviors and habits with money. So with number two, it can be using a budget form. So tracking your expenses, tracking your income, reviewing your transaction history on your bank account and plugging that information into a monthly budget sheet to see how much money you're spending in the different categories, to kind of get an idea of what your habits and behaviors are with money, because usually we spend money the same way every single month. We are creatures of habit. So when you look at your bank statements, you're gonna notice that you have the same spending every single month. Give or take certain months where there might be special occasions happening or the holidays. But even then, if you think about that on like a yearly basis, you might realize that you spend the same month every year based on what's happening in that month. So tracking our expenses, even tracking your expenses on your credit card, is a great way to kind of understand what your behaviors and habits are with money. And it can help you make small actions to change your current beliefs and habits. So again, that tracking your spending and income. Um, Also, tracking your debt balances as well, and tracking your payments to your creditors. All these things can help you decide on how you can make small actions to change your current beliefs and habits. Because sometimes it's hard to make big actions. Sometimes it's hard to say, like, okay, well, I've been eating out. Uh, just say your eating out budget being $500 every month, and you want to cut that down to something less. So saying that I'm gonna eat out 0 times in a month might not be realistic. And it might be too big of a change to where you might fail at it. So just saying, like, okay, instead of spending $500 a month on eating out, I'm gonna spend $200 a month, or I'm going to spend $300. So those are like small changes that can eventually shift your behaviors around spending money on eating out. Next is change negative beliefs or thoughts to positive affirmations. So, what are some negative beliefs or thoughts that you might have around money, and how can we switch that to a positive affirmation? So, just looking at ways to kind of shift those negative thoughts around can also help you change certain mindsets and behaviors when it comes to your money. And then lastly, set SMART goals and create plans to achieve your goal. So when we clearly define out what our goals are, especially our financial goals, and then we create a game plan, sometimes that kind of helps us change some of our behaviors with money. So say, for instance, you set a goal um, to start an emergency fund this year. So by the end of the year, you want at least $3,000 saved in your emergency fund. Then you break that down into, okay, I'm going to save X amount of dollars per month. However much $3,000 is divided by 12, I'm going to save that per month to reach this goal. And then you can break that down some more. I plan on doing a monthly budget every month so I can see where I can spend less somewhere and put more into saving. So if you kind of like listening to what I'm saying about creating a SMART goal, is also shifting some of your mindsets and your behaviors around how you spend money. And then also, if you had a negative belief like it's impossible for me to save money, so that's kind of a negative thought or negative beliefs. In your mind, you say it is impossible for me to save money. If you change that to something positive and say, I am able to save $10 a week by not getting Starbucks once a week or twice a week, then you see how you shifted that negative thought to something more positive, because you're saying like I can't save, but then you're saying, okay, if I stop doing this, then I can save X amount of dollars, which will put you closer to meeting a financial goal that you have in mind. Another thing we want to do to kind of help us change our mindsets is being more intentional with our money. So again, creating a vision and setting goals. Goals can be long-term or short-term. They can be yearly, monthly, weekly, and daily. So when we have like these goals set around our finances, it can lead to us shifting the way we behave with money to lead to more positive results. So we're still at the beginning of the year. I know January is usually a month of planning for a lot of people. A lot of times we have our New Year's resolutions, we have our vision boards, we have maybe we do like planning meetings. So January is a good time to kind of get started with figuring out what your financial visions and goals are for the year. And when you're thinking of vision, you're thinking of, okay, where you see yourself with your finances this year. So that can be, I see myself having an emergency fund. I see myself purchasing a home. I see myself getting a higher paying job. Um, or I see myself buying a new car or sending my child to college this year. So what is your vision for the year? And you can also think about what is your vision long term. So this can be your vision for the next 5 years. Again, you're kind of determining what that looks like. And then this kind of gives you a purpose on how you can be more intentional with your money. And then schedule time to go over your finances each month. Doing this can make it or make it a date. So have a financial date with yourself, have a financial date with your significant others or your spouses, have a financial date just with your whole family. This can be with include your kids in on it too. Um, because what this does is it gives you an opportunity to take time to go over your spending and income to set intentions on how you want to spend for the month. So when you're doing this, first of all, you're going to go over what happened the month that just ended. So usually a good time is maybe like at the end of the month or the beginning of the new month. You want to go over your spending and income for the last month, and then you want to set intentions on how you're going to spend your money for the new month that's happening. Once you start setting like an actual date to do this, once you start doing like after like 3 or 4 months, it's gonna become like second nature to you. Like you're gonna automatically sit down that same day every month without even thinking about it. Sometimes you might feel a little anxiety, like, oh my God, I haven't gone over my finances yet this month. Let me sit down and look over everything. So it's gonna become easier and easier the more consistent you are with doing this. Um, Even if you miss a month, you're going to still find a way to get back to it. Even if you have to go over 2 months at one time, you're going to, once you become consistent and it becomes just a part of your normal schedule, then it's going to be easier and easier to do this, and it's going to be easier to set those intentions every month. And then check in with your finances weekly. Track your income and expenses during the month to make sure you're sticking to your goals for the month. So just check in with yourself. A lot of bank accounts, they have spending reports that you can look at where they categorize your spending for you. So you can glance over your spending report to see like, okay, well, where I'm at on eating out, where am I at putting money into my savings, where am I at on shopping, am I staying under my goal? Did I go over my goal for the month? So check in on your finances weekly. Also to make things easier, when you have reoccurring bills, that's another opportunity to check in on your finances. So just going over like that bill whenever, if you're manually paying, sitting down and going over it. So that might trigger you to look at your bank account and see where your money is at. If you have auto pays that's coming out, so that's a good time to check your bank account to also like see where you're currently at with your finances and the budget that you set for yourself. So now I want to go into creating SMART goals because again, part of wanting to change your mindsets to reach more positive results with your money is creating SMART goals. So with SMART goals, SMART goals are goal is a goal setting framework to help you define and achieve goals. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. Um, so first, we want to clearly define what you want to achieve and how will you achieve your goal. So when you're being specific about what that goal is, then again, like I said, this year you want to start an emergency fund. So again, you're going to set how much you want that emergency fund to be. Then you're going to set how often or how frequently you're going to put money into your savings. You can also set like if you're going to do like an auto pay every month, or if you're manually going to put money into your savings on a certain date, which usually around your payday is a good time to put money into your savings. So you're going to set when you're going to put money into the savings. Also, you're going to determine where is it going to go, like what bank account you're going to put the money in. Um, so if you look at like what I'm saying, like you're clearly defining out what do you want to achieve and how you're going to achieve that goal. So what steps are you going to take? Next, you want it to be measurable. So you're going to attach a number to your goal so you can track your progress. So again, you set an amount that you want in your emergency fund. Secondly, you decided that you're going to put the emergency fund in a savings account in a high yield savings account at a bank, and then you're going to put money into your saving monthly. So that gives you a means of measuring or tracking your progress, because every time you put money into that savings account, then that's progress towards your overall goal. And so that means you have a place to go back to see how close you are to accomplishing that goal.
Can I add something there
Mhm.
about measuring the measurable? The goals that you set and making sure that they're trackable so that you can track your progress. Make sure that when you set those goals that they are realistic kind of goals, not something that's completely out of your norm where you've gone from saving nothing to I'm going to save $500 a month, and you know that you have had a hard time with not spending money every single week or spending all your paycheck. It's almost unrealistic to just assume you'll go from saving nothing to saving something that's much. So when you set your goals, make sure you give yourself a little bit of wiggle room, because sometimes it's going to take some adjustments. Okay, well, I'd say $200 a month was relatively easy, so let me go up a little bit. So you can adjust your goals, as you go. So don't, hey, if I set up at $500, oh, I knew I wasn't gonna save $500 a month, and then you just stop because as
Yeah, you
opposed
give
to
up.
and you just give up. Don't set yourself up like that. So no, give yourself a little bit of grace as you're trying to get
Yes.
into different habits and things like that. Don't be real hard on yourself. Just adjust your goals as you go. So that would be very helpful as you're kind of starting out on a new journey and setting up these kind of financial goals. So I did want to make sure I added that part.
Yes, and then also like your goal can also be maybe you want to improve your credit score. So what's a credit score? What's the number you want to be at? If you're trying to purchase a house, maybe that goal number is 620. So you're measuring that goal by checking your credit score and seeing like things that you're doing that affect your credit. So what things do you need to do in order to reach the goal of a minimal score of 620 to purchase a house? So that could be paying down debt. It could be getting something deleted off your credit report that maybe was an error or is a collection that you just decide, hey, let me just go ahead and settle and delete this. So always figure out a way to measure. If it's a goal where technically maybe there isn't an actual number that you can put on it, then it could be the steps that you need to take. So maybe it's something that requires like documentation you have to fill out and complete, or it might be some maybe you have to send off like documentation. So that might mean like just writing out like what those different steps are, that are the different things that you need to do to achieve that goal. And as you're checking them off, then that's a way to measure your progress on how much closer you're getting to being successful with that goal, because you're checking off these tasks that you have to do to reach the goal. Then the next is achievable. So like Nia said, you want to make sure that your goal is realistic within your capabilities. So again, if your goal is saving, you want to, cause like if your goal is saving, you say, okay, well, I want to save um X amount of money to start an emergency fund. So I see here I'm spending $500 eating out. So I'm just going to stop eating out and put $500 into my savings account. And then what might happen is technically you can't fully stop eating out. So then you might pinch off of that 500 that you put into your savings account to cover some eating out expenses. So again, you want to be realistic of what that looks like. So maybe instead of cutting out like the total amount of eating out, maybe you cut out $300 of eating out, and then you put that $300 immediately into your savings when you get paid, to make sure that none of that money go towards eating out. And you definitely don't want to wait till the end of the month to put money into your savings, because that can also change your capability of savings. Because if you say, okay, well, I'm going to save whatever's left over, I'm going to put that into savings. But I want to save $300 a month, but I want to wait till the end of the month to to see if I have $300 left to put into my savings. So then that might not be realistic, because maybe you're someone who tend to not track your spending. So then you get to the end of the month and you don't have the $300 that you wanted to put into your savings. So when you're thinking about your goals, even the actions that you need to take to achieve your goal, you want to make sure that it's realistic and it's within your capabilities. Because again, like Nia said, if it becomes too overwhelming or too hard for you to keep up with, then eventually you might quit on that goal. And then next is relevance. So ensure your goal is important to you and that you'll stay motivated. So we want to make sure our goals that we're setting for ourselves is relevant to us and it's important to us. It's something that we are driven and motivated to do. We're not basing it on someone telling us, oh, you need maybe you're someone you like renting, but everybody keep telling you you need to buy a house. And so, or maybe you can't afford to buy a house yet, but everybody keep telling you you need to do it. So you go start the process to do it, and maybe you don't follow through with that. And it's because it's either number one, it wasn't realistic for you at the time, or it wasn't important to you at the time. So maybe it's not important to you to buy a house right now, and it might become important to you later. Because if it's not important to you, then you're not going to keep up with it. You're not going to stay motivated. So just making sure that your goal is, it's not like other people pressuring you to do something that's not relevant to you, but they feel that you need to do it. It could be, and that can be anything, just making sure that your goals are important to you and it's something that you're wanting to do. And then lastly, time bound, set a deadline for completion. So again, when we use the example of creating the emergency fund, the example was your deadline would be by the end of the year. So the end of the year is December 31st. So maybe you start January 1st to December 31st. Or maybe you start your savings goal in May, and you say in a year I want to have X amount of dollars saved. So it could be May of this year to May of next year. So you're going to decide on what that deadline is. And then also you want to, again, we're going back to that achievable. So we want to make sure that our deadlines that we give ourselves is realistic and within our capabilities, because we don't want to set deadlines and maybe it's not enough time for us to accomplish the goal. So then we have that sense of failure. Sometimes I might see this when it comes to like individuals that are working on their credit. They might set a deadline like, I want my credit score to be in the 700s in 3 months, but their credit score might be currently in the 500s. So 3 months might not be a realistic deadline, because it takes time to see your credit score go up. I mean, unfortunately, your score dropped faster than it moves up. So then you might have to like, okay, well, let me learn a little bit more about credit and how credit repair works, how building your credit work, so I can come up with a more realistic deadline for me getting my score up to that goal score that I want to have. It can also be the same thing with savings. Um, Looking at your budget can help you create a realistic deadline. So maybe the amount you want to save is not going to take you a year. Maybe it's going to take you a year and a half, or it might take you 2 years to save that amount. So looking at your budget is going to help you determine like what that deadline of completion should be, to make sure that you're successful. And even if you're not successful, at least you got really, really close to being successful, because even if there is some type of setback or like a small failure, you can go back, reevaluate what those setbacks are, and then you can readjust your goals in order to still be successful with that same goal. So that is all I have. Is there anything else anyone wants to add? Okay, so I do want to take some time to go over Family Houston and our services and what I do as a senior financial stability coach. So Family Houston, we do offer free career and financial coaching for the greater Houston. Honestly, you can live in another city as long as you can meet virtually, then we can meet with you. We're not zip code restricted. We're not income restricted as well, so it doesn't matter what your income is. You can still work with our financial stability coaches for free. And then we do have a youth program called Youth on the Move. So that's our second financial stability program. That program is for youth 14 to 24. So this can be something that you do as a family thing. So as a parent, you can be working on your financial goals. And then also if you have kids that are 14 to 24, they can sign up for one-on-one free coaching as well. So they can be learning how to build their own money mindsets that will help them be successful and make good decisions with their finances in the future. And with our youth program, we have the same we have financial literacy and career development coaching. We also have entrepreneurship coaching for the youth, as well as a micro grant they can apply for if they're wanting to start a business. And then we help with workforce supports for the youth. So it's just a little bit of financial assistance for like uniforms, like if they got their first job, or maybe they get a second changing jobs because they completed college or they completed a training program, or they graduated from high school and they want to get a higher paying job. We can help with that, and we have like some financial assistance to help them with employment needs. I don't have the QR code for to sign up your youth, but you can go to familyhouston.org, Youth on a Move. There's an intake form for the youth to sign up for that program. If you're interested in, if you're over 24 and you want to do financial coaching, you can contact me directly to schedule an appointment, or you can contact Family Houston and schedule through our intake services. So our intake services is 713-861-4849. And you can also email Family Houston. Actually, I got the wrong. It's programs@familyhouston.org. If you want to email our intake services to schedule an appointment with a financial coach. We do have financial coaching services in different areas of Houston. We have our central location, which is in central Houston. We have a Bay Area location out near Clear Lake. We have a Katy location. That one is located in Brookshire. And then we have our Fort Bend location. So we have coaches in those four locations. So if you want to meet with someone in person, then you can find someone, meet with a coach that's closest to you, or you can meet with us virtually. And I think that is it.
I'm sitting here just talking. I didn't realize I was on mute. Oh, I feel like today is Monday, but goodness. All right, so those were, I don't see any questions in the chat for the people that are joining us live. Do you guys have any questions or any input or feedback or anything like that that you'd like to give? Also do know that other workshops in the series have been planned for the year, and I will be including a calendar of our 2026 presentations. We are here the first Wednesday of each month at 4 p.m. I am here live at the Nubia Square Apartments Community Center, so you can join us in person, or you can join us via Zoom here if it's more convenient. But next month, Wednesday, March the 4th, will be our budgeting session, and it is getting control of living beyond your paycheck. So there'll be templates and forms and things like that that will be provided to you all to kind of help jumpstart your budgeting classes, your budgeting goal. And then we have our jobs, careers, and finances for youth and young adults. And then our Mind Over Money presentation is going to be on May the 6th, and our debt management and credit building is going to be June 3rd. Living benefits in the fall with insurances and creating GoFundMe's. Our savings workshop is in October, and our holiday spending is in November. But I'll include a copy of the schedule for all of you guys so that you'll know. And these will all also be listed on our website for you to register for those. But again, we are in person as well as on Zoom. So if you want to join us one afternoon and have some particular questions about your particular situation, want to just join us for a couple of little snacks here at Nubia, please feel free to do so. I think that's about it. I hope you guys got some helpful information for you as it relates to finances and your relationship and treating money and just kind of thinking about money a little bit differently. We didn't include that video, did we, that we used to show on YouTube? It's about money, your relationship with money, because it was hilarious to me. It was a comedian that used to be on Def Comedy Jam that talked about money and
Oh yeah, because we did. This was probably years ago.
yeah, ship with money, and it was a hilarious presentation. I mean, it was a hilarious little skit. It was only about 2 or 3 minutes, but he talked about how his money's been acting real funny with him. He sees her out with different people. They used to be real tight. Now she act like she doesn't even know him no more, and she just look at him and just walk on by. And now he sees her at dinner with other people. They're out to the movies together all the time, and they're doing all these different things, and it was just hilarious. Very informative. Thank you so much.
I'm trying to think if I can see. Was it Dion Cole?
No, it was long time ago.
Okay.
There was a question that she just put into the chat. I just saw it pop up. Can you read that question?
Oh, she just said very informative. Thank you very much. My thing is I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Um, so yeah, that's another thing. Like with our next month when we're going into our budgeting presentation, then we can talk about I'll go a little bit more into how to create spending plans to where you're tracking your income and spending to kind of like if you're trying not to always like live paycheck to paycheck and try to like figure out ways you can, even if you're saving just a little bit of money um, per month, then when we go over like our budgeting presentation, we'll talk about like how to track your expenses each month so you can make like better intentions on how you spend.
Yeah, that'll be next month on March the 4th. Also, we have here at our office what we call our 30-day bag challenge. So we encourage people to kind of track your spending before you plan a budget. Because otherwise, if you don't really know what kind of a budget to set up, if you don't really know how and where you're spending your money and then where your check is actually going, to know where you can actually kind of scale back a little bit to be able to start to save. So we have these little plastic bags. I think I have one here. So we branded these little bags right here. It's called our 30-day bag challenge. And it's got the instructions written on the bag, and I'll mail one to you if you like. But basically, It is a 30-day tracking that you put all of your receipts, everything that you spend. If if something you don't have a receipt for, you just kind of swipe your card, then kind of write it down and put it in that bag, and do that for 30 days. And at the end of the 30 days, take it out and then add everything up and see how much money that you're actually spending. Sometimes people realize that they're actually spending more than what they're actually making on every paycheck. And so if you can look and then you kind of identify some of your habits, like, oh man, I eat out and I spend $100 a week, on lunch or eating out or fast food or something like that, then that's an area that, you can kind of scale back a little bit. Well, instead of me eating out 5 days a week, let me eat out maybe 3. Then I'll go to the store and kind of, grab some stuff or, eat some leftovers, pack stuff for lunch or something like that. Those are little things that you can kind of do to kind of help start identifying how you're spending and where your paycheck is actually going. So that can kind of help you with budgeting a little bit better. So when you go to set up that budget plan, I know I can save now $20 a week as opposed to spending the 100, because now I'm saving, by not eating out. So, but we'll get into a lot of that detail in next month's presentation. But if you do want one of those bags, when I send the email out, I'm going to send the email of this recording to everybody, and then just reach back out to me to say, hey, can I get one of those bags? Or if anybody that's watching, because we do record the session and it is live on our social media channels, feel free to reach out to me at Neighborhood Recovery if you want one of those 30-day challenge bags, and I'll be more than happy to send them out. We've seen, families, parents with their kids actually doing it and tracking their spending, because it's real easy to swipe the Cash App card or do the Apple Pay with the phone and just not paying attention to where and how you're just spending that money just kind of rapidly. So I did find that video, by the way, and I do want to share it. And it was Def Poetry Jam. It was not Def Comedy Jam that I saw it. And let me do share. Where is it at? Oh, I got to share the audio. Share sound.
My money's been acting funny lately.
Can you hear it?
And I don't mean ha funny. No, I'm talking strange, weird, different type funny. This time money's going all out. Leaving me, showing up, then leaving as quickly as she came. Ignoring me, treat me like a poor man. What I do, boo? All I ever did was love you. Maybe too much, because now it's like we ain't cool no more. We used to be road dogs, inseparable. But lately my money's been acting funny and I haven't seen money in months. I got more than a hunch she's playing me, trying to make me jealous, hanging out with other fellas, always in some other brother's pocket. I try and tell her, man, those other guys are just using her. They just using you, money. She don't want to hear me. She don't want to hear me. She don't even return my phone calls. She don't stop by the crib like she used to. She won't go to movies with me. She won't even go get nothing to eat. And you know a brother can't eat without money. Don't you know I miss you? I want you. Okay, I need you to survive. My life revolves around you. I can't replace your money. Believe me, I've tried. There's only so much bread and water I can take. Call me spoiled, but I remember the days when people used to see us at the hottest clubs, the expensive restaurants, all the high-priced stores. I made sure I looked good with money. I treated you right. I never abused you. Did I? Did I abuse you, money? Did I get used to you hanging around and now you giving me a taste of what it feels like to live without you? People still think we're tight. I mean, they still ask about you. I don't like them all in my business, so I just reply, money and I aren't as close as we used to be. My money's been acting funny lately. I can't even call out a name when I'm shooting ball. Oh, I saw her the other day in Beverly Hills. She didn't even acknowledge me. She looked at me like, how you get in Beverly Hills? Like I don't belong. Ever since money hasn't been around, I feel like I'm losing my other friends too. American Express, Visa, Discover, now they starting to act shady. I think she's spreading lies on me. I tell you, I don't know what I did, but my money's been acting real funny lately. And I don't know her anymore. And my life ain't the same. Never will be the same until money comes back into my life. So if you see her, or any of her cousins, because she got a whole bunch of family running around, let her know that I miss her, that I love her, and I want her to come home.
I just thought that was cute and really appropriate for, you know,
Right.
the
The topic.
title of maintaining your relationship with money. So I saw that years and years ago, and I thought about that when we started doing this presentation. I'm like, yeah, we're gonna play that and see how, and kind of show relation how people, you know, treat their money. And oh, let me say too, I have to give the disclaimer: we do not own the rights to the video that was just played on YouTube, because if you play a YouTube video with another recording of somebody else's, then it'll kind of block it out.
Oh,
So
yeah, yeah.
I said that we don't own the rights to that video clip that was just played. So, but yeah, but that's about it that we've got here for this evening. I will also make sure that I include Monet's contact information if you are interested in setting up a one-on-one financial coaching session with her. Then please, we do encourage you to reach out. Yes, that did hit the mark. Thank you very much. It was quite appropriate, quite appropriate. Please feel free to reach out to Family Houston. Again, their services are free. Spread the word and let people know that there are financial coaching areas that are out there, or organizations that are out there that do help with the coaching at no charge. There is no income eligibility or requirements or anything like that, but you do have to actually like complete an intake and, you know, apply for their actual services though. So, but please do reach out and again, let other people know, kind of pay it forward in case they are interested, or if they have the goal of, you know, trying to save for a house or, you know, do something else, and they kind of just need an accountability partner, if you will, or somebody to kind of keep them on track, or just kind of encourage them along the way. You know, if you're just now kind of getting into budgeting or savings and things like that, then definitely reach out to them for that. So I want to thank y'all for joining us this afternoon, and again, coming back for our Money, Health, and Wealth Financial Capability series as part of the month of service class. Thank you, Monet Cheney and Family Houston, for definitely for your continued support and participation in making sure that we get as much information out to the community as we possibly can. So thank y'all very much, and hope you all have a wonderful remainder of your evening. You all take care of yourselves, you stay safe, and hopefully we'll see y'all next month, Wednesday, March 4th, for our budgeting session. Make sure that you take a moment to kind of fill out that survey that pops up on the screen after you close out your Zoom as well. So you all have a good evening, and we will see y'all next time.